Hey everybody, what's up? We're back. It's those wrestling girls. It's your girl Krista B
and Queen P.R.
And today is one of our more serious episodes. It's our spotlight episode. No, I'm sorry. It's our real talk episode. And this episode we feel like is really needed for us to discuss because it's something that not only goes on in the world of football, baseball, basketball. It also goes on in wrestling, music. It also goes on in wrestling, believe it or not. And we're here to talk about, of course, the women and being a person of color, a black woman in the industry, and if they get enough shine or not. Because we, as black women, we know that they don't get enough shine, but we want to make sure that people can understand where we're coming from with this episode. So, P, want to start?
Sure. So when we started this podcast, we wanted to make sure we put a spotlight on, one, the women in WWE and in wrestling, but then there's also that other subgroup that doesn't get enough shine, and that's the black superstars, unfortunately.
Right.
And every time we do a poll or we ask social media, what should we do an episode on, this topic has come up a lot, and that's just like highlighting the black superstars in WWE. And then most recently it came up a lot because of Alicia Fox being moved to legend status. So there's always a lot to be said about her. And then where's Naomi? Where's, is Ember Moon getting a fair shot? So it's always a discussion that our listeners, always want to talk about, because a lot of us wrestling fans in our network are people of color, and they want to see us get the same shine as the blonde girls in the WWE. So I always thought that this was important because as a kid, we didn't have a lot of representation.
No. What we had was really Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
We had Jacqueline. And then from a male's point of view, we had Mark Henry for a little bit. We had D'Lo Brown for a little bit. We had like the Nation of Domination. And then, from that group, you had The Rock, who kind of like sprouted out, but then it started to go, oh, he doesn't claim his black side. He only claims his Samoan side because he only claims that he comes from lineage of Peter Maivia, High Chief Peter Maivia. His mom is the daughter of the High Chief. And then he has his uncles, the Wild Samoans, or his cousins, Rikishi, and then their cousins, the Usos, and, Roman Reigns down to Nia Jax and Tamina. But he never really mentions Rocky Johnson, who is a African American. He's a black man. He's made history in this business, and then you never really mention Farouk or Ron Simmons. I can't remember his name. Ron Simmons, who also I believe Ron Simmons was the first African American heavyweight champion in WWE.
Or in the NWA, yeah.
In the NWA. And then he also became a part of the first black African-American tag teams. So it's like we had that to look up to, but that was way before our time. We grew up in Attitude Era.
Yeah. So I just remember Jackie.
Right.
And boobs.
Right.
I don't remember,
it's either they came to flaunt what they had, or they had to be that sassy black girl, black woman, or in the case of Karma, she was, she's a larger woman, so she had to use her strength and I'm the big bully and rah, and even in that, they still didn't get as much time as they deserved. So this is why I feel like this topic is very, very important to us.
I agree, because just going back to the Attitude Era, the women that got the most attention were the skinny white girls with the big boobs and blonde hair. And that's why Lita was so, she stood out because she looked different, but she was still a white girl who was sexualized to some extent. So we never really had that representation like we do, thankfully, like we do now. We have a Naomi, we have an Ember who looks like us, we have
a Bianca.
Alicia Fox, we have Bianca Belair, we have a lot more there. And then the question is, are they getting a fair shot? And does it have anything to do with the fact that they are black? And so that actually is a good segue into our ever interesting social media. So I posted a really dope photo from Evolution of Bianca Belair, Alicia Fox, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Ember Moon. And really dope photo. And that inspired this episode, or why we should do it now, because it was a very rare photo of like all the Black female superstars, which is really cool.
Which is not many. It's 5.
It's not many. And I know
5.
there's more in like NXT and in development and stuff, but those are like the ones that are like, you know, well known right now. And under the Instagram post, we had a white follower. I'm not going to...
Disclaimer. Just let me tell you guys, this response was not me. I had to reread it to make sure I didn't write it. But I'm so proud of P for sounding like me during this comment.
And it's hard because you don't want to feed into trolls like her.
Right.
But then at the same time, it's just like, as a white, you know, and again, I love all people. I have nothing against white people or anything like that. But I feel like some things is just not for you. Like she should not have commented on that photo of us asking people what we should say in this episode. And she basically was like...
It just showed her ignorance.
It did. So she basically was like, it has nothing to do with skin color.
Oh, no, read
We're
it.
using...
Read it.
I don't want to read the whole thing.
All right, so read some of it at least.
But she said that we're playing I'm going to paraphrase it, that we're playing the victim, that because the Black superstars that are in that photo, like Alicia Fox or, you know, Sasha Banks not retaining, that we're playing the race card to play the victim, and that they're just not good enough. It has nothing to do with their race. And again, I told her that I posed a question. I never made a claim that, you know, Sasha Banks doesn't retain her titles because she's Black. I didn't say that in the post. I said, let's open up the conversation. She felt like there is no need for the conversation because it's not about skin color. And I said, I wouldn't expect you to understand why we need to have this conversation. Like you from your profile, you look like a basic white girl. Like, you wouldn't feel the need for it. It's not a conversation for you. You know, basically stay off the page. And that's she doesn't follow us. That's the only thing she's ever interacted with our page. So that type of negative energy is exactly why we need to do this episode, because of people like her who think, oh, nothing's about race. Like, oh no. But you have to notice the women that are pushing WWE, white blondes. Like, that's not
except for the redhead.
Except for the
the red and the blue man.
Yes, except for the man, but for the most part. And so how do you feel about her saying it's not about race? Like, do you think it's just one of those things where, you know, these 5 superstars that we talked about, Alicia Fox, Ember Moon, Naomi, Sasha, Bianca, whatever their career trajectory is not because of race. It's just because they're not good enough.
Okay. So if it was me who wrote this, this is what would have been said. 1, I am tired of the ignorant, basic people who decides that, or who feels like it's never about race because they are too oblivious to realize that they're using their white privilege to overlook all of the real things that's been happening within not only wrestling, but any other sports and entertainment realm.
Yep.
So, nameless person, because I'm not even going to give you that type of day or energy. You need to educate yourself before you comment on anything when it comes according to race. These 5 women in that photo that you posted, that picture means so much because they all worked hard to get to where they're at. They didn't have to show their ass, their boobs, their dancing. They didn't have to do all of that. Naomi is one of the best, most athletic women we have today. Sasha Banks, oh my goodness, the way she puts herself on the line every night, night after night, even if she retains or doesn't retain, Sasha Banks works her ass off.
She definitely does.
It's been times where we thought she died flying through the ropes because of how she would land on her neck. Bianca Belair, she has that sass, but she also has that strength.
Yep.
And she has that ability to back it up.
Yep.
Ember Moon, she stands up because her ability, her character, her everything is just like so powerful. It's different and it draws in. And Alicia Fox is the legend of all 5 of them. And I like Alicia Fox because I could relate to her. Tall, slim, long legs. very quirky. But once I'm in the ring or once I'm into something, I'm going to go put my all to it.
Yep.
So for you, nameless Barbie, to come at myself and P, who are women of color, who do look for representation, you need to go educate yourself. You need to really sit back and analyze. If you're a wrestling fan or a fan of anything, and if you are not racist or whatever, you need to really sit back and analyze, like, yo, there's not a lot of people who are of other races, and I wonder why that is before you sit and comment on any and everything.
Agreed. So a lot of people commented under the post, and mostly people of color, because they understood why we're doing this episode, including white people that agree that there needs to be more representation. Like our social media intern, Jake, like he understand his favorite wrestlers are Ember Moon and Sasha Banks, so he feels the exact same way. But we want to give a shout out to Lucy Miles XO. We'll give you a shout out.
Yes, girl. Yes,
that's your handle. And she wrote underneath, first of all, she had our back in that little Instagram exchange, but she says the exclusion of Black women is obvious. They don't hesitate to spotlight other legendary women all year round, like Mae Young, Sherry Martel, and even Fabulous Moolah are acknowledged, but the Black women aren't even showed and rarely mentioned in February when they show the Black History package. Alicia Fox is the first and only WWE Divas Women's Champion. Naomi won the WWE Women's Championship at the Elimination Chamber event, the first African-American woman to capture the title.
SmackDown?
Yeah. Sasha Banks is half of the WWE inaugural Women's Tag Team Champions. Jazz was the last woman to hold the women's title under WWF and the first to hold it under the WWE banner. Didn't even know that. Not to mention, she's still killing the game after 20 plus years. She really is. She killed it at All Out, and she was rocking this like bald look.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Really cool. I really liked it. Jazz, like she said, she's still killing the game. And then she said, of course, our pioneers Babs Wingo, Ethel Johnson, Marva Scott, Ramona Isbell, who paved the way in the 1950s, pushed, promoted as Negro lady wrestlers or colored girl wrestlers, and mostly only fought each other, along with racism, segregation, feminism, Jim Crow. Don't get me started. I'm saying we got receipts.
Yes, Lucy. Yes.
So yes, there's receipts, and I watched Dark Side of the Ring about Fabulous Moolah, and you already know the sadness of how she treated the women, but there was this Black wrestler, Georgia Brown, who was treated horribly. She was pimped out. She was abused. She was in every way you could possibly think of, and basically just used and worn out. And she was one of the first professional Black female wrestlers, and I gotta give it to her because she learned how to wrestle on a mattress in Moolah's like living room,
right?
And she endured all of that because she wanted to wrestle. And we don't hear about her enough.
You don't hear about her. You don't hear about the 3 forgotten sisters of wrestling.
Yeah.
I actually came across them when I was doing my thesis statement when I was in grad school, and I actually came across them. I'm just like, oh, I've never heard of these 3 Black sisters who literally paved the way, tag teams, division, but they always had to go against each other.
Yep.
Because of the racial segregation and things like that. But every time they went in the ring, bad enough you're a woman. Now let's think back. Bad enough you're a woman during that time. But bad enough you're a Black woman during that time. It's like they already pegged you out to be something infectious. Like, Black skin is like...
God forbid I wrestle a white woman.
Right. And God forbid I win. Or I really hurt her. Oh, my God, you're stoning me or not stoning, lynching me. Or, running me out of town or,
Or imagine how hard it was for them to get in and out of, like, arena or whatever.
Stadium, circuses, wherever.
Or what they had to go through. And I can only imagine the horror that they had to go through along with other women. But you cannot deny...
talent.
Exactly. So let's go through some more comments that... So Christopher is another friend of the show. He always comments, and he's a big advocate of female wrestlers. And
his favorite wrestler is Jazz.
We went to Jobber's viewing party this Saturday, literally just so that he can see Jazz and the battle royal. And he says the black superstars in general don't get the shine they deserve. If you notice, they get reigns shorter than their counterparts. Look at how long Ember Moon held the NXT Women's title before she got called up to the main roster just for them to not use her.
Right.
Look at Alicia Fox, Diva title reign, which they barely noticed. Naomi's title reign was very short compared to others who held the belt. Don't get me started on Sasha Banks and Nia Jax. They deserve better. Hopefully, the way the crowd gets behind Kofi, we can get the same with our black females.
Yes, Chris. You better talk your shit.
Yeah, totally. So I've always talked about Sasha Banks' short title reigns.
Right.
But what's interesting about Sasha Banks, I never looked at her. I felt like she transcended race a little bit because I never looked at her as like
a person of color.
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I just see Sasha Banks as Sasha Banks for some reason.
You
like
never saw a race for her.
Yeah, almost kind of like The Rock, although I feel like that was intentional when we were growing up. We weren't supposed to see him as black. I don't think they wanted us to.
You can't not see somebody as black and put them in a
but that's
nation
why they
of
always
domination.
Brought up his after he hit. He was Hawaiian. He wasn't
because
black.
When he first came out, he was Hawaiian.
Yeah.
He was not Hawaiian, Samoan.
Samoan, I'm sorry.
When he first came, and that didn't work. And then he went to Nation of Domination.
Yep.
So how are we not supposed to see you as black if you're in an all-black faction?
But I'm going back to your point. They never brought up his father as much as his Samoan heritage.
Right.
It was always like it was like he was half black, but it wasn't like he's a black superstar. He was The Rock.
Yeah, he was never classified.
He was never, and I feel like Sasha Banks was never looked at like she was just Sasha Banks, But I do see that her title reigns are shorter.
They're really short.
And
out of the 4 horsewomen, she's the shortest.
Yeah. I mean, that can always change, but I do like that she is representation for us. She's one of the top superstars, and she's the black one in the 4 horsewomen. And right. I think it's cool for like little girls to be able to look up to her in the midst of all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I was talking to my friend earlier because I was, venting about what was said under our comments. And I was just like, it's like you have 1 out of every 4 is a person of color. That statistic needs to change.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. I agree.
This, for instance, 1 out of every 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have Bianca Belair. Let's say Bianca Belair and the horsewomen of NXT. Mm-hmm. That's 1 out of every 4. Like, I really can't. And you have Naomi. Naomi. And then say you have Naomi, Natalya. And who will we pin them up with? Naomi, Natalya. Who else is up there? Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. You understand? So it was just like, to every 3 white females, there's only 1 black female.
Agreed. So how do you feel? Let's go through this list. So we hit Sasha Banks. She's a little different. Like we said, she kind of transcended race a little bit. Alicia Fox. That's a big one because she came up in the Divas era. Mm-hmm. So she was already kind of put in a weird position to be taken seriously as a superstar. So, but she could wrestle.
She's
been with the company for 10 plus years, and she was the first and only, like Lucy schooled us, she was the first and only Black Divas champion. Mm-hmm. And I learned that and started hearing that on social media. No, I didn't get that from WWE.
I've heard some, like, real little on WWE. Like, when I rewatch old episodes now, I really listen for the commentary.
Yeah.
Because, 1, JR and King are hilarious. But 2, because they'll throw facts out that you never knew. Even, like, later on, when Alicia Fox wasn't really fighting where she was, Michael Cole or somebody would mention, she was the first ever or first only Black Divas champion. Like, they would say, even, and the way they would say it would probably only be during Black History Month, where they wanted to showcase Alicia Fox.
Yeah, they don't say you said that because that's I don't ever recall WWE saying it, except if I did, it was during February.
Yeah, like you don't really see them showcasing it all year round as part of her accolades. Like when Nikki Bella was out, the longest reigning Divas champion.
Exactly.
Even when she wasn't champion. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody ever classified her, as John Cena's ex-fiance or John Cena's fiance. It was always longest reigning Divas champion. I don't recall them giving Alicia Fox a celebration like they did Nikki. I don't recall them doing all of these celebrations for Alicia Fox like they did anybody else. You understand? So, yeah, I feel like Alicia Fox was robbed. I feel like she could have been Divas champion more than once, even either SmackDown or Raw Women's champion too, because she can wrestle.
She can, and I think because she's been around for so long, and she seemed like, you know, back when she was wrestling, when she came back and she was wrestling, she stepped right in. You know, she had a big match with Evolution, and she was finally in Royal Rumble, but it just was never like. It was never like the spotlight on Alicia Fox.
I also feel that way. And I don't know if you agree with this. I also feel like because she was always a tail to somebody. First when she joined the Bellas. And then when she joined Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Yeah. But I also started to feel like she started to get a little bit more shine when her hair color changed. When her skin color changed. And everybody thought that she started bleaching or started to put on lighter makeup for her to actually be seen, because all right, this is what Vince wants, or this is what creative wants. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make myself look lighter. I'll make myself look whiter so that I can make it onto TV, have more TV time. And it shouldn't have to be that way.
It really shouldn't have to be that way, especially someone like Alicia Fox that, like, she was in FC, like, she paid her dues. She, again, knows how to wrestle, and I think she was on Total Divas, like, you know, she was involved, like, you know, don't get me wrong, but I do think she deserved a little bit more. And the fact that they just kind of moved her over to legend status, like, and like that was it. That was it. You know, it's kind of like, okay.
And then the fact that her character kind of plays off of the ditzy, crazy white girl. White girl in a black girl's body. It's just like, come on.
Oh, you felt like it was. I think Alicia Fox is just.
I felt but if you watch Total Divas,
it's hard to be politically correct sometimes.
But it's like if you watch Total Divas, opposed to how her character has changed, it's just like, she was always like kooky or whatever, but not down to that extent up until towards the later years. Yeah. So that's just my take and my opinion on it.
I agree. I do hope. Well, it looks like she might be done for good, but I do hope that when stuff like Raw Reunion come up or there's a time to honor legends, I hope they continue to include Alicia Fox. Right. And just so, like, because she does have a lot of fans out there who want more for her. We might still do a spotlight episode on Alicia Fox, but so moving on to Ember Moon. I loved Ember Moon. I found out about her when she was feuding against Asuka, and I was like, oh, okay. Because again, she was a black girl in NXT. That already piqued my interest because there's not many. So I was like, okay, there's another black girl killing it. Like, let me go check her out. And I was like, oh my gosh, she could really wrestle. She's really, really good. I love her character. And then she became champion. Which was good. And then she got moved to the main roster. And when I believe it was after WrestleMania when she debuted on the main roster, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, like, what are they going to do with her? Like, they have such a good package with her because she could do it all, kind of. And then
they dropped the ball.
I haven't been satisfied. I think it's been maybe like over a year now that she's been on the main roster. And I know she was injured. She did have some moments before she got injured, and it looked hopeful with her feud with Bayley. But then what happened with that?
Dropped the ball?
Yeah. It's like, okay, Ember, where are you?
And I know it's frustrating for her. Like, I know it's frustrating for a lot of the women, but especially the ones of color who have to constantly Vince cannot vent, you know, or Stephanie, can you know, or Triple H, you know. That's why I feel like that at the rate, these are why people leave. Like, they don't feel appreciated. And then they're like, no, we appreciate you. No, you just go sit in the corner until we call you. I'm not 5. Don't pacify me. Yeah. Literally, let me showcase my talent. You hired me here for a reason. You called me up for a reason. And you could have left me in NXT while I'm killing it. Yeah.
She was killing it.
Well, I'm getting more shine where I'm, champion, where I can build a feud with Bianca Belair. I can build a feud with Shayna Baszler. I can build a feud with Io Shirai. Leave me there if you're not going to utilize me to my best.
Yeah. And it's frustrating, too, because you think, when she started the feud with Bayley, she had a title shot, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Having a pay-per-view match, that's awesome for Ember. That might have been her first one, title match on a pay-per-view. But stop teasing feuds. Like, stop using Ember as a way to just, further Bayley's character. Yeah. Or like...
Sorry.
They tease that, her character might get like the underdog, nerd bully treatment with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville at one point, and then that didn't happen. So that's the frustrating part. It's like, okay, so what are you gonna do with Ember Moon? Jake had posted a good idea, and I would love to know your opinion, that maybe Ember should join up with Sasha and Bayley as a heel, to kind of reinvigorate her character, I guess.
See, my only issue with that is the fact that if Ember does that, if they write that in for her to become a heel with Sasha and Bayley, it's like, do we even know who Ember Moon really is? Like, we know who she was from NXT, or even before that, when she was whoever A is. You understand?
That's Alexa Bliss.
No.
You mean at NXT?
No, when she's writing on Twitter.
Yeah, it's Alexa Bliss.
Oh, she's right.
Yeah,
she's writing
like
to
besties.
Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Okay, because when I was reading the comments, it was like, oh no, please bring back A, like whoever her other character was.
Oh, well, they write each other.
No, but I'm saying is, here was a character she had before. Her name was Ember Moon, and it was A, whoever A was. And I know it's not Alexa, because somebody's like, yes, I need you to bring. They need to refuel A.
Well, I know WWE had tweeted like it was Alexa, but it could be something from the past.
They don't want to bring kayfabe.
Her indie, her indie days.
And it's just like, give us more of an Ember Moon shine before she decides to join a faction and get overshadowed.
I agree. That's a good point.
Like, I wouldn't mind it if she already stood on her own, and then all three of them would be unstoppable on their own and together. Yeah. Like, I know you don't like mentioning the guys, but the ones I can think of, the Shield, all three of them were talented on their own. They had their own lane, but when they came together, it was just like a powerhouse. Like, even Evolution, like all of them. The legends, the new, they also. I feel like if they gave Ember Moon more of a shine to be on her own, because she puts on great ass fucking matches.
She does. I think she needs something to like jolt her. Like, I don't know. Something needs to happen for us to be like re-energized into like Ember Moon, because the first thing I felt like got us re-interested was the fact that she was gone. It was like, okay, we missed her. She came back. But then they didn't really do much with her with that. And then they teased her and Bayley. And I don't even know what they're going to do with that, because they moved Bayley on to Charlotte. And that's a whole thing. So we haven't seen Ember in a couple weeks. So we didn't even know what's going to happen there.
Ember's going to go to AEW.
Or maybe back to NXT. Now they got 2 hours on USA.
It's 2 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, you're not going to let me sleep.
We're no wrestling. There's no days off in wrestling media.
Right.
So we kind of hit on Jazz a little bit. And I remember her like very briefly when I was a kid, because I had just like kind of stopped watching wrestling a little bit when she was on. But I do remember liking her a lot, noticing her because she was black and she was new.
And she was brolic as hell.
And she was putting on great matches. She's amazing.
Muscular. Like, she was like the China when it came down to build.
She was so cool.
She was dope. And she ain't take shit from nobody.
She really did. She really didn't. And she still is, like Lucy said, she's still killing the game. She's signed to AEW. No, I don't know if she's signed to AEW, but I know she was in the Battle Royal. But I think she's gonna do a lot this year. I think she's gonna like surprise us.
I hope. I wouldn't mind seeing her back on TV more.
Do you think she would have gotten more of a push in WWE, or do you think
during that time? No.
Okay.
It was mostly male dominated. Once Teddy Long, She was with Teddy Long, and I forget the other guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
And Teddy Long kept pushing him, like his other client. Oh, he's never lost a battle. He's done it. I believe he lost his first match to either Bubba Ray or Devon Dudley.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was like Jazz was kind of falling to the wayside, so she started to go around with Victoria, and they started like beating up Trish, and then Gail Kim came along, then Molly Holly came back along. Like, it was like really no room for Jazz in a sense. So yeah. I don't think. Okay. Nope. Mm-mm.
Wrong time.
Wrong
timing. So I want to talk about Naomi, Cameron, Team Bad, and then the playing into the black stereotype.
Okay.
Because we kind of touched on that before. We kind of talked about Naomi already, one of the greatest athletes in WWE right now. Like, she's amazing. And she has an amazing attitude, amazing personality. She's a great baby face. It's like, how could you not like Naomi? Like, she's a
good
smile.
heel too. Well, her heel, it was
Well, let's talk about Team Bad, because that's when she was a heel. And I've said it before, I was not a huge fan of Team Bad. I thought it definitely played into black stereotype. And it didn't click for me for some reason. I loved that Sasha Banks got called up. I loved Naomi, because I watched Total Divas, and Tamina's Tamina, and she is. I don't like.
Give her some credit.
I love Tamina. I'm not gonna sit here and be like I was a huge fan. Like I was not at this time, but I just felt like the whole bandanas and like the whole like I don't know. I just felt like
and dark makeup,
and then
I just rolling.
I just felt very forced, because I felt like that was neither three of their personality. Like, Sasha is a heel. She's sassy. Don't get me wrong, but they wanted her to play into like another,
and that's what she used. So her kind of breaking away from that. Like, I don't need y'all.
Basically.
Like, stop trying to bully. Stop. Let me do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And then Naomi, I just feel like, yeah, you're right. It did play into a black stereotype.
Because I feel
don't get me wrong. I did
Team Beautiful and Dangerous, but not be that.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did like it. And sometimes I feel like watching Naomi come out and, be all that. I could be that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could be on some
I mean,
neck
from
rolling,
Brooklyn,
don't start
from the
me.
Bronx,
Right, like, I can be that sometimes. We all got it. Don't ever get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, so if I do that in the area that I'm in, the audience that I have, it's going to be like, oh, she's a typical black girl. She's a typical black N-word. She's a typical black bitch. Just another black girl who, speaking of, right. Speaking of.
Yeah. There's been some disgusting things said about Naomi and the black women in WWE, thanks to social media. But Krista, let us. So
last year in April, there were a series of tweets that went around about Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
And the follower stated that, like, I guess Naomi was talking, this was around the time about Natty, and I guess Naomi lost something.
Mm-hmm.
And basically when Naomi was talking, a Twitter follower goes, "Oh my God, another monkey talking.
Ooh.
America is not your country, Africa is." So Naomi goes on Twitter to goes, "I deal with negativity and racism like this on a daily basis, but I don't allow you to bring me down. I encourage others who are experiencing the same or any type of bullying to stay strong and positive. Not let the actions of others change who you are. Kissy face, #feel the glow."
Nice.
Now, Naomi's been through hell and back, but she won the very first ever women's WrestleMania's Women Battle Royal.
Yep.
At WrestleMania 34.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Naomi has been through hell and back.
I can't believe that somebody in 2018 would write something like that.
But fuck it, I'm saying her name, Jackie. Racism is never an issue, right?
Right, exactly. There's no need to bring up these issues. Although we have this black superstar, and my WWE is a global
and the Twitter
company.
follower is definitely a white guy, TJ Killershaw at FightZone _ on Twitter. Wow. I'm not sure if it's still active, but this is what it is.
That is disgusting, and I can only imagine the other things that
that's been said.
That's been said. And we're active on social media because of the show, and it's helped us. But we've come across disgusting things that people say,
yeah, definitely.
you know, especially about the black superstars. I've seen the worst things, you know, being said. And that sucks because not only does she have to deal with maybe not getting as many opportunities because of her skin color. I mean, look how long Kofi was a big deal because
11 years.
How long did it take for us to have a black world heavyweight champion like Kofi in WWE? Like, it is something, it is a problem, and it definitely needs to be talked about. And going back to playing into the black stereotype, like, black women in general have, like you said, have to go through that. Like, you know, how black do I act at work in front of my white coworkers? You know what I mean? Like, you know, why?
Like, if I curse, I'm ghetto.
Yeah.
But if I talk proper, like I went to school and I can, you know,
you talk white.
Then I talk white. But I'm never, oh, she's very educated, she's very smart. Or if because she must be really angry and that's how she lets out her frustration, or she venting. It's never that. It's always a double standard.
Yep.
Always a double standard.
Yep. And it sucks. So Cameron was another black superstar, and she was very much that girl bi and all of that. Even in Total Divas, that's her personality. And we loved Cameron for it. And she and Naomi were in a tag team, and I think they were cute. You know, they had a lot of entertainment value when they were the Funkadactyls. Cameron didn't make the cut, but how do you feel about her? Briefly, how do you feel about Cameron?
I actually like Cameron. I like that she had that no nonsense, I'm not going to take your shit type attitude.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she always stood up for herself. Even in that clip that was on, I think it was Real World or Road Rules, when the guy was just
Big Brother, I think.
Okay, when he was just talking about, let's go do an oily wrestling match or whatever, and she literally stood up to him because you're not going to come and disrespect me as a woman, me as a black woman, me as whoever. Like, this is my career, and if you can't accept it, then go fuck off. Like, fuck yourself twice. Like,
and she, you know, she didn't get like a long singles push in WWE, but you could tell she still respects wrestling and WWE because she was a part of it, and I give her credit for that. And she was able to really make a career after wrestling. Like, I look at her social media, I'm always like surprised.
She's into fitness.
Yeah, she
actually follows me on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Hey girl, thanks for the follow. So we talked about Jackie. Let's talk about Karma real quick, because she was always controversial because of how she was treated, and supposedly there was a lot of heat on her because she got pregnant in the middle of her push. Now, that's just a women issue. I don't know if that's a black woman issue.
It's not an issue. It's a blessing.
Well, the issue of
you can't
them
be at it's
treating
not
her differently because she's pregnant is the issue, but not being pregnant isn't the issue.
I don't think it's a black woman's issue. I think that's just an all-around women's issue, especially if you're drawing in the money for the company. People see money before you see a human life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And that was definitely in a different time where being a working mother isn't as accepted as it is now. Like, now it's like, shit, we had a fucking pregnant champion. Trish, they talk about her being a mom was a huge part of her dialogue with Charlotte. So it's very interesting that, 15 years ago, her career kind of came to a halt. And she had a lot of potential in WWE.
She did.
Like, we still talk about her promos when she was coming in.
Yeah, I around that time when Karma was there, I really wasn't watching it anymore. But I did hear a lot of, you know, good things about her, how her character was, and how she had this thing with the Bella twins, and you know. But I started to figure out who Karma really was, and when I was watching Glow, because she plays in Glow, she's known. Okay, another show where they stereotyped her because her character was the black welfare queen.
Oh my god!
And it's just like, it was one scene
and
where
that's so real for like the 80s and shit.
And it was a scene in the show, and I believe it was the second season, where her son didn't know that she was a wrestler. So she went to go meet with her son at his college, and a fan who, I guess, whoever went to the college was like, "Oh my gosh, welfare queen!" In front of her son.
Oh my god!
And her son was just like, "What did you just call my mother?" So it was there where she had to tell him, no, that's just the character that I play. But at the same time, it kind of hit home because she was doing it for the money.
Yeah.
She was doing it to put her kids through school. But people don't see that. No. People just see color. Yep. And if people don't know, like, if you're not on TV, you don't get paid. Yeah. Whatever your contract says you get paid, if you're not on TV,
especially back then,
if you don't have TV time, you're not generating them viewings, them views and them ratings, you don't get paid. Yep. So a lot of the times when them wrestlers get injured, they'll be back within a week or two. Oh yeah, because they're trying to get paid. Like when we was reading what's that book?
Sisterhood of the Ring.
Yes, we read a lot of times how. And they were injured, pregnant, still wrestling, or as soon as they had the baby, they waited like good 6 weeks. They've been back on the road. These women were not properly taking care of themselves, but because they needed the money or because they were being forced into doing something, especially like we said, the women of color, it's like they didn't have that option. No, not at all. Karma comes at a time where it was just like, okay, like she came during the Divas era. But you knew she wasn't a diva.
No. And that's what made her so cool to me. And that's what I wanted to see more of. And I'm glad that she is on Glow and that she's with also AEW. Yeah. And she's still working and she's still killing it. And AEW, we had an episode about them. You should check it out. And they are trying, like, diversity has been their, like, one of their selling points since they announced that their brand. So we're, of course, looking out. We're going to be doing reviews of that, too. We're going to be looking out for the diversity there. I mean, we have Nyla Rose. There's a lot of, definitely more diversity, I think, than WWE, maybe.
Definitely more.
Yeah, definitely more.
But speaking of AEW, I don't know if you have her on here, but Brandy Rhodes, she started off in WWE. She was she a part of the Divas era slightly?
Yeah, but I think she was only like a commentator, like a ring announcer.
Right. I know she was a ring announcer, but I don't know if she ever got in a ring.
I don't think she wrestled after in WWE. Yeah, but she is worth mentioning because she left and is doing
AEW. And I remember during the press conference, Cody was talking about when they was asking about diversity, and Cody said to Brandy, you know what, babe? I don't see color. And Brandy said, well, if you don't see color, you don't see me.
Yeah. You have to, Jackie, on Instagram. Color is a thing. And in wrestling, it is even more of a thing. Thank you. It's even more of a thing. And it has to be talked about. And I'm so glad that Jackie was like, no, that's sweet. That's cute. But no.
You mean Lucy?
No, Brandy, when Cody said that.
Oh, you said Jackie.
I meant to say Brandy. I'm sorry.
Oh, you mean Lucy?
No, so when Brandy had told Cody, like, if you don't see color, you don't see me, like, that's cute, Cody. Like, oh, I don't see color. He probably thought he was saying the right thing. Yeah. But it's like, no.
You can't be right. You have to be transparent as fuck.
In 2019, in America, you have to see color. Like, I'm sorry. And it is a factor. Like, I'm always the one that I don't also like when people make race into play the victim. We see it all the time, especially nowadays. People use race as an excuse for everything. I don't think that's true, but we need to talk about Black women in WWE. Like that is a discussion that needs to be talked about, and I'm glad that we finally had this episode. But I want to end it with, do you see hope? Do you see more diversity in WWE?
I would like to see more hope and diversity in WWE because there are a lot of women we didn't touch on. Bianca Belair, she's killing it right now in NXT.
She really is. And she's sassy.
She's sassy as fuck.
She's sassy, but I think
it's a good sass.
It works. Like, yeah. It works. I would love to see more from her, especially now that NXT is going to be on TV.
Queen Charmel, King Booker, wife. She had her run.
She did.
I'm not sure if she was a wrestler either. I can't remember, but I know she had her run. But then her character was just like the bourgeoisie.
Yeah, I liked her as Queen.
Yeah, like Charmel. I liked her too.
Yeah,
and I appreciated it. I appreciated it. Because you saw Black women in a different light. Yeah. You saw Black women as, okay, I could be bougie. I could be cute. Right. Like I could do that. I have money. I come from, like, it's never, oh, I gotta be sassy and from the ghetto and from the hood and have to be beating bitches' ass every day or taking somebody man or this, that. This is why I didn't like that storyline between Mandy Rose and Naomi, because it was just like, all right, bitch, you trying to take my man. Yeah, like it also plays into that black stereotype, like I'm the angry black insecure wife.
Yes.
Because I'm not letting my man, out of my sight. Yeah, that's why I didn't like it.
We gotta do better, WWE. We gotta do better, and let's get these. That picture is very powerful of Bianca, Naomi, Sasha, Ember, and Alicia Fox. Like, let's do better. Let's do better with the diversity. Let's have more of the women of color in the spotlight, and let's give them characters that don't play into the fact that they're women of color. Like, let them just be them. Like, I love Ember Moon's character. Like, do more with her.
I agree.
I am hoping that with this new direction, with Sasha revitalizing the women's division, I'm hoping that there's more visibility of the women in general, especially the women of color. So
I agree.
Yeah. And let us know what you think about Black superstars and representation, and follow us on all our social media. And
anything else before I close out? Because you always tend to cut me off when I close out. You good?
I think I'm good. All right.
And on that note, it's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen P.R.
And those wrestling girls are out.